Okay, the Nike Zoom Fly 6 versus the ASICS Novablast 5. Which is the better pair of shoes? Why am I comparing these shoes? Okay, so these shoes aren't really comparable, but the reason why I am comparing them is they may seem to be very comparable in the way that they are built, and if you look at the specs between the shoes. So both shoes are often billed as versatile daily trainers, and they have similar specs on paper. Okay, so they're both a similar mass, around 250 grams in a men's size 9. These are slightly under 250. These are slightly over 250, making these the lighter shoes. They're both pretty light. These guys are lighter. They both have a similar amount of stack in the midsole. They both have decent, thick, good stack in the midsole. And they both have a similar drop of 8 millimeters. They both have pretty responsive but soft foams. So this is a different foam to the Novablast's predecessor, the Novablast 4. The Novablast 5, which I have in my hand, have the FF Blast Max, which is a much softer foam than its predecessor. And this has two foams. It has the fantastic Zoom X on top, not at the bottom where it says Zoom X, here on the top. And the Zoom X is quite soft. And then it has the SRO2 at the bottom where it says Zoom X. And it's soft as well. They're both similarly soft. And if you land on the heel where it's mainly the SRO2, it does feel soft. And if you land on the forefoot where you have a much bigger chunk, which is great that there's a big chunk of Zoom X at the forefoot. If you land on the forefoot, it's also pretty soft. You go right into the plate. So it's both of the foams on this shoe are soft and responsive. Obviously the Zoom X is much more responsive. The SRO2 is not quite as responsive. But the FF Blast Max is not as responsive as the Zoom X, of course. Yet still pretty responsive. It's an interesting foam. It's got that, I mean, I like these shoes. It's got bounce, but I don't find the responsiveness to always be reliable. I find it to be very bouncy, but then it kind of, as if I run in them for a long time, at the end of a longer run, not even that long, I did a 12K run in these shoes this morning at about a 4 minute 50 second per kilometer pace. And at the end of the run, I just didn't feel the same amount of assistance from the foam that I would get from the Superblast. That softness, that softness was good, responsive, but it kind of got in the way. Whereas I can really count on that foam and the kind of feedback and the foam assist when I use the Superblast 2 instead of these. So yeah, the foam is definitely soft, yet responsive. It's interesting. When you go slow, it feels really soft. When you go faster, it does have bounce, but I don't find it to be very, very consistent. Good though, good. I'm not saying these shoes aren't good. They're great. I'm gonna do a whole video on these shoes, so please subscribe if you want to see that video. They're great shoes, fantastic shoes. Okay, so you can see similarities between the shoes, both billed as versatile daily trainers. Okay, so let me tell you why these two shoes are not at all the same and which shoes you should get. Okay, so first off, these shoes are $30 more expensive than these. Well, it depends where you are, but on average, these are a bit more expensive than these. They're both fantastic deals. Both these shoes are fantastic deals for what you get, but for the extra $30, you get more tech in these shoes. You get a plate, the Fly plate, which is a good quality plate. It's not quite as firm as like the plates I have in my Saucony Endorphin Pro 4, or as firm as the plates in the Alpha Fly or in the Zoom Fly. Got a bit of a brain fart there. Or the Vapor Fly. Not quite as firm as those plates, but still very firm. And yeah, so you get the technology and you get this fantastic upper. You get the premier Zoom X foam, like you get in the Superblast. You get their premier racing foam in that case as well. So you get better technology. I mean, you can feel this upper is fantastic. But when it comes to the plushness of the two shoes, these shoes you get the heel cushion is really good. Nice tongue. It's also a very nice tongue. Breathability is good in both shoes. They both feel like really high quality uppers, and they're both really comfortable. These are more comfortable. Okay, so both quality shoes, very well built shoes, both of them. They both look great. They're both quite plush on the top. These are more plushness than you would get with the racing shoe, of course, because they could be used for a race. These, not so much, but they are trainers. So they take a racing shoe and they give it the comfort, they give it the durability that you want from a trainer, while still having a lot of the performance that you have in a racing shoe. So let's get to the main differences, the ride. These shoes, they want you to go fast. Now you can run easy in these shoes. You can. I have a video where I compare these shoes to the Superblast 2, link in the description, and you can see what it's like. I run easy in the shoes with a heart rate monitor in the video and tell you about the experience. And you can do it. You can absolutely do it. You just have to know how to speak to the shoes and you can run easy. The issue is you might feel the plate sometimes, the geometry of the shoe. The fact it's an 8mm drop, but it feels more slanted than that. It feels like a bigger drop, and the rocker is smooth. It's not too aggressive, but this shoe wants you to go fast. The nimbleness of the shoe, the platform of the shoe, the geometry of the shoe, it just wants you to go fast. So when you're running easy, you kind of have to think about it. And an easy run, you shouldn't be thinking about like fighting the shoe to run easy. You should just do it naturally. And it's not exactly natural to run easy in these shoes. Yet if you pick up the pace to a tempo pace, to a threshold pace and above, it feels very natural. If you get on the forefoot where you can take advantage of the thicker layer of Zoom X and you activate that plate, this shoe sings. It sings at tempo paces and above. It really sings at those fast paces. So this is a shoe, it's very comfortable, so you can do a long run in these shoes. It's not as stable, so you have to pay attention to your form and you have to be careful going around corners. But it's not unstable either. When I reviewed this shoe, also link in the description, I made that comment. I was surprised, but just looking at the shoe, I was expecting it to be a lot less stable than it is. If you land on the forefoot, it's actually very stable. It's got a decent platform in the front of the foot. And if you're tired, there's a lot of comfort in the heel. And if you land on your heel, it's fine if you go straight. You just have to pay attention while you go around corners. And it's very nimble. When you need to kind of weave around, they're very nimble shoes. So these shoes are for faster efforts, for marathon training. They can do marathon training very well. But when you want to do your faster paced efforts, they can do that. You want to do threshold repeats, threshold training, tempo training, intervals on the road, anything like that. These shoes are at their home. They're singing. They are fantastic, wonderful, fast shoes. And you can race in them. You can race in these shoes. They're fast enough. So if you want a shoe to do all of your faster work and race in, and that ticks a lot of boxes, these are the shoes to go for. Whereas these shoes are very comfortable running easy. I did a couple of easy runs in this shoe and they feel great. They feel great running easy. They're very soft and they're very comfortable running easy. But when I do pick up the pace, they also feel great. So they do well for recovery runs. They're soft enough for recovery runs. They wouldn't be the best recovery run shoes. You would want something maybe even softer than this. But they're soft, they're very comfortable, more comfortable than the already very comfortable Zoomfly 6. But they're very comfortable and they do very well with recovery runs. They do very well with easy runs. They'll do very well with longer runs at easier paces. And if you want to pick up the pace and put some marathon pace into there, or if you want to do some faster bits, up to steady, up to tempo, they can do it. The midsole is bouncy. It's definitely bouncy, but you do feel the softness. It's soft and bouncy. It's not going to just be as propulsive as this. It's going to be substantially less propulsive. So this is bouncy, but it's not going to give you a whole lot of speed. This is bouncy and fast. So these shoes, good for fun running, happy running, slower running, up to steady, and maybe some tempo here and there when you got to really push at the shoes to get that. They're not going to be as kind of consistent with faster running. These love fast running. They sing, they come alive, they dance, they do a jig when you go fast in these shoes. So very different like rides. Very different rides and very different use cases. So these shoes are the shoes you get for the majority of your base building, easy miles. They are definitely versatile. They will take you through most of the runs that you need to do. Okay, so these fantastic shoes, they really are versatile, but on the slower end of the spectrum in terms of versatility. And these are also versatile. but they're on the faster end of the spectrum in terms of versatility. So from steady up to racing, and this is really from recovery up to steady, and it can do faster a little bit, and this can do easy a little bit, but they're on different ends of the spectrum. So actually, they complement each other very well. As a rotation, pretty darn good rotation if you don't have a ton of cash and you want to get something that's super shoe-esque, and you want to get something that's going to help you for your daily training, that's a bit slower, just your regular daily training, faster stuff in races, other daily training, some slower long runs, faster long runs. These two would make a fantastic rotation. Okay, so anyway, that's it. I hope I've kind of put some lights onto the differences and similarities, use case overlap between these two shoes. They're both fantastic pairs of shoes. As I said, I have a video on these shoes. Check the description for that. And please subscribe if you want to see the video that I do on these shoes. I'll run in them and speak about them in different situations. They are taking the place of my 1080 V13, which are fantastic shoes as well. And fantastic shoes. I'm loving these shoes. I had some knee issues at the beginning, had nothing to do with the shoes. These shoes are great. So that's it. I hope this was useful. Thank you for watching. If you got all the way to the end of the video, I hope I didn't ramble or repeat myself too much. And that's it for now. Ciao.